My name is Erin Hirsh, and I am the project manager for the Modern Slavery Project. And I'm going to tell you about one of the pieces that we have arranged, what we call our Seder Starters. As you probably know, more than 95% of the Jews in the world celebrate Passover with some sort of Seder. Passover this year is at the beginning of April. When we celebrate Passover, we remember that we were slaves, and we celebrate our liberation. But in some ways, it is premature to celebrate because so many people are still enslaved. And once you're aware of that, I think it profoundly impacts the way that you experience the Passover story and reflect on your relationship to our tradition and to the lessons of the story. And so I began to read different resources that other people had created to enrich their Seders with the insights of modern slavery existing today. The great news was that there was an extraordinary array of materials. Many people have taken the initiative and created Haggadot, or supplements to go with the Passover Seder, which really can enrich people's Seders. The difficult part was that it took me quite a lot of research to find them. They were on websites far and near. And so what we decided to do is put together a booklet, which you see on the screen, that tries to organize all of that information and provide links to take you on the web to resources that you might find to be helpful. The range of resources that we found include readings, activities, songs, blessings, food, specific questions, discussion prompts. It's really remarkable. And because of the array of materials that we found, we know that every person could find something that would be easy to integrate into their Seder. There are things that would be appropriate for Seders for children, for Seders in private homes, for Seders in synagogues. There are Haggadot that are quite comprehensive, in which every component of the Seder has a tie to the issue of modern slavery. And there are examples of material that you could integrate so that there's only one place during your Seder where you talk about the issue of modern slavery. It's all very flexible, and we wanted to make it as accessible to everyone as possible. So what we did is that the first section of this packet lists all of the most comprehensive Haggadot and Seder companion pieces that people have written. It includes them and a brief description. And then after that, we created an index that is organized according to the different parts of the Seder. It begins with the very things that go on your Seder plate. There are many people who've come up with creative and interesting ideas for elements to add to your Seder plate to provoke conversation and questions and bring the issue of modern slavery, make it visible before everyone. They range from putting fair trade chocolate to putting tomatoes to putting locks, padlocks. Really, you might also be inspired to think of your own ideas for what you could add to your Seder plate to prompt conversation about this issue. After we list all these fabulous ideas with full credits for who thought of the idea, what organization promotes which idea, we moved on to the elements of the Seder that perhaps you are more familiar with. There are readings to recite when you have a glass of wine, when you wash your hands, when you eat parsley. I think once you start to think about the issue of modern slavery, it really can connect to almost every aspect of life, and the Seder is no exception. The readings that people have written, ranging from a lesson from the story of the Exodus and what it leads a person to believe about our responsibility to combat modern slavery today, sharing a firsthand account that someone who has been enslaved in our contemporary world tells their story, and can just be read alongside the story of what it was like for the Israelites to be slaves in Egypt. The descriptions we've given, we tried to be very concise and to the point, so you can easily look through and say, oh, I would love to have 4 questions about modern slavery to recite after I recite the traditional words. You can find something about 4 types of children relating to 4 different approaches to the issue of modern slavery. There are many, many ways that you can integrate the materials that are included in the Seder. And I want to mention that some of them are also fun. People have written alternate lyrics to some classic songs like Dayenu, which means it would be enough. And certainly it would be enough if we could free slaves today too. So there are pieces that can be very engaging and stimulating and really can coordinate to whatever type of Seder you are trying to create. We hope that you will look at this material for the Seder that you are planning or a Seder that you're going to, that you will refer other people that you know are planning Seders to this material and encourage them to find a way to raise awareness of the issue of modern slavery right in the middle of this sacred Jewish moment. If we could touch even a fraction of the Jewish people who observe Passover at a Seder this year, and if even a fraction of those people would make donations to Free the Slave and other organizations that work to alleviate and eradicate modern slavery, or if only a fraction of those people teach somebody else that slavery still exists today, Dayenu, it really would be enough. We could have a tremendous impact. And this is an ambitious project, and we really invite you to be part of it. But as Rabbi Ornstein said at the beginning, this is a mitzvah that can grab hold of you and propel you to engage and to engage others in the fight against slavery. And we've designed the packet of Seder Starters to really help everyone in that process. In addition to this packet of Seder Starters, as part of this project, we commissioned 10 pieces of curricular material. They are designed for children as young as kindergarten, and they stretch to adulthood. On the Free the Slaves website, which is freetheslaves.net/Judaism is where you'll find our materials. There is a set of the full curriculum, and then there's also material broken out that is specifically the pieces of curricula for children, those that are geared towards teenagers, and those that are geared towards college students and adults. They're broken out because, again, we don't want to overwhelm anyone, and the entire document is quite long, and people might not want to print it out. So we have organized it into pieces to also make it easy to be useful depending on the age group you work with.